Hey guys, welcome to Gusto Barbecue, and boy, do I have a couple of sweet barbecue treats lined up for you. So, the guys are coming over. You want to impress. I got a little tip. Think big. Big cuts of meats are easy, they feed a lot of people, and honestly, if you follow me and you watch this video, you'll be a barbecue master. First up, the mighty Tomahawk. This thing is a beast, but it's super delicious. Think of it as a thick cut prime rib with a long bone on it, and it's good for a couple of reasons. One, it takes a while to cook, so the backyard's gonna smell delicious. Two, it's on the bone, so you get tons of flavor. And three, it's the rib cut. So it's like the Cadillac of all cuts. Nice fat, and then there's this really tender piece. I'm gonna get a little chefy here. It's called the spinalis. This done right on the barbecue is just delicious. So before I put it on the Q, what I like to do is bring the meat up to room temperature. It cooks more evenly, and you'll get really nice and juicy pink centers. And then the seasonings, I keep it really simple. Because I love the natural taste of that big beef, just a generous hit of salt and pepper, and you're ready for the barbecue. The Tomahawk. So the method I like to use for the Tomahawk is high heat grilling, get some really nice char marks on it, and then indirect cooking. If you don't know what indirect is, one half of the barbecue is on, one half is off, and it works like an oven, and that's what it looks like when it comes out. So there's a little bit of char, but then the barbecue works like an oven to keep it really nice and juicy. And here's another great tip. When the meat comes off the barbecue, let it rest. You bought a nice piece of meat. What's another 10 minutes? It's gonna relax, soak up all the juices, and be delicious. All right, this is my favorite part right there. It's called the spinalis, and it's really nice and tender, and it has a good chunk of fat in it. And then the Tomahawk, you wanna slice against the grain, and that makes it really nice and tender, and it's just beautiful and blushing on the inside. It's a delicious piece of meat. Even if you want it medium rare, rest it, it's just delicious. But I gotta eat the spinalis. Get out of here. It's so simple, just a little salt and pepper, a good quality cut, cook it, rest it. When the boys come over and see that dinosaur steak, you'll be a new favorite at the barbecue. So the second cut is a beast. I mean, the Tomahawk's pretty gnarly, but this Porchetta is a rock star, especially on the barbecue. And it's kind of two cuts. So the first cut is a pork belly, and then inside the pork belly is a pork loin. And it's delicious because the pork belly is super flavorful because it has tons of fat. It's got the skin on the bottom, so the skin gets really nice and crispy. So this is what I like to do. And hey, if your butcher's a nice guy, he can do this for you, but I like rolling my own porchetta, and check the skin out. That's the best part. When it slow cooks on the barbecue and it gets ridiculously crispy, it's like glass. So this is what I like to do. Get the belly out, salt, pepper, lemon, and same with the loin. So this is gonna be really nice and tender. And then if you wrap the loin in it, the loin is really kind of succulent, and then all of that fat from the belly seeps into the mild loin. So just roll it up, and you want all of that fat on the outside, and just keep it nice and tight like that. And then here, you want some butcher twine. So I do about 5. So you want the first one right down the middle of it, and then 2 on the other side. You just want to take your time here and make sure that it's really nice and tight. And then I do the outsides the very last, so you can kind of trap everything and keep it really tight. And don't worry about the twine on there. The skin really likes to puff up when it cooks, and all of that skin will get delicious and crispy. Cool. Yeah. And then that's really nice. You got the pork belly around the loin. And what I like to do is put it in the fridge overnight. You want the salt and pepper and the lemon to go into the meat. It kind of tenderizes it a little bit, and it gets it ready for the barbecue. So the best way to cook a porchetta, honestly, is on a spit, like rotisserie, like you would a prime rib or a chicken or a turkey. But if you don't have a rotisserie, you can just do it on the barbecue, indirect heating, but put it on a rack, on a tray, and like every 30 minutes, flip it or so. So I like to start with really warm temperature, around 375 to 400 for the first hour, and really get that crackling going, and then turn it down and just let it go low and slow. And the longer you cook it, the better, because you want this. Like that crackling part, when the skin puffs up like that, you know you've done a good job, and it should crunch when you cut into it. Seriously, look at that thing, it's a beast. The pork belly is so nice because there's so much fat and juice in it, and then that seeps into the loin and just keeps the whole thing really nice and tender. It's like a big old piece of salty bacon wrapped around a pork loin, and that's probably my favorite part. The pork belly and the crackling. It's so delicious. With just a little bit of time and some simple seasonings, it's wild. I love the taste of the pork. It's so nice and fatty and tender, and the pork loin is delicious, especially when it's like wrapped and all of that delicious pork fat. And honestly, look at this thing. If you just put a little pressure on it, it's so tender and so juicy. Oh my God, porchetta. If you haven't had one, try it. You'll impress everybody. Now, if you excuse me, got some more porchetta to eat. So there you have it, from super tender cuts to tough cuts. You never have to be worried about big meat again. So you guys know the drill. If you like what I did, give me a thumbs up and always subscribe. See you later.